Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we like to blend casual conversations with hopefully insightful discussions on all the latest in technology and gadgets. We're doing a deep dive today right into the heart of recent tech news. All you listeners shared some really interesting articles with us, and we're really pumped to kind of unpack the coolest parts and, to see what we can learn.
Yeah, for sure. Scrolling through my feeds this week, I'm seeing a lot of buzz, especially around AI. New phones are popping up too, and even, get this, robots showing off some pretty serious martial arts moves.
Okay, so let's kick things off with something that, looks really cool. The Nothing Phone 3A Pro. Digital Trends is calling it the best nothing phone so far, giving it props for that super unique design, a really impressive camera, they say, and software that's supposed to be incredibly user-friendly. And you know me, I'm always a sucker for a good-looking gadget. But I've also learned my lesson about, putting looks before actual functionality. Remember that phone I had with the glass back crack the first time I dropped it?
Ouch. Yeah, I remember that. It's a tough lesson to learn, but those design choices, they often come with some trade-offs, for sure.
Right.
It definitely makes you wonder if all the emphasis nothing is putting on looks with this phone might actually, affect how durable it is, or even how practical it is to use every day. I mean, Digital Trends did mention that the battery life is just average and that the wide-angle camera isn't anything to write home about.
So maybe not the perfect phone then if you're looking for, something that can do it all. Seems like you really have to be all about that style to kind of accept those downsides.
Yeah, exactly. For some people, it's worth it. For others, not so much.
Totally. Speaking of style, though, have you seen this video of the Unitree G1 robot doing kung fu? It's been blowing up all over the internet.
I have, yeah. It's pretty impressive, though I'm not sure I'd go as far as to call it, true kung fu just yet.
Right, right.
My guess is those moves are more like pre-programmed sequences rather than the result of some kind of advanced AI, actually learning martial arts. But still, got to give him credit, the agility and just the fluidity of the robot's movement. That's remarkable stuff.
For sure, it makes for one heck of a video. But you're right, let's not get ahead of ourselves and start, worrying about robot overlords taking over just yet. What's really intriguing to me, honestly, is the tech behind it all. It's like a sneak peek into how algorithms are being used to create these incredibly complex and almost lifelike movements in robots. I mean, this could have massive implications for, well, basically everything, right? From how things are made to how healthcare is delivered, you name it.
Absolutely, yeah. And speaking of seriously impressive algorithms, we got to talk about the leaps and bounds happening in AI, especially when it comes to text generation. There's this new player on the scene called Mercury, developed by Inception Labs, and it's making a lot of noise because of how incredibly fast it is. Unlike ChatGPT, which, creates text word by word, Mercury uses what they call a diffusion model to generate the entire text output all at once, like in a single burst.
So instead of watching ChatGPT kind of slowly type out a response, with Mercury, you get the whole thing instantly. That's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's really something.
I read somewhere that it can even create simple HTML5 games in just a few seconds. That's wild.
Exactly. And this whole speed advantage comes from how these diffusion models work. They basically start with random noise and then just keep refining it step by step until it turns into coherent text. It's very different from the transformer-based models like ChatGPT, which build up the text kind of sequentially, piece by piece.
Wow. That's fascinating. Makes me wonder, do you think this diffusion approach, is this going to be the new standard for AI text generation going forward? Could we see the big guys like Google or Microsoft or even OpenAI, adopting this technology?
It's a really great question. And I think, honestly, it's still too early to say for sure. I mean, while Mercury's speed is seriously impressive, we also got to consider things like accuracy and, how coherent the output is. It'll be really interesting to see how this technology develops and if it can actually challenge those big established players in AI.
It's almost like we're watching this race unfold, right? With all these different AI approaches, all competing to, be the dominant one, from crazy fast text generation to robots who can, well, almost do kung fu. I mean, the speed of innovation right now is it's incredible.
Oh, it really is. And speaking of competition, maybe let's shift gears a bit from the world of AI over to that, classic rivalry, Samsung versus Apple. We've got the new Samsung Galaxy S25, which is getting a ton of praise for being so simple and powerful, going up against the newly refreshed iPad Air, which is now sporting the super powerful M3 chip.
Ooh, this is a tough one. I mean, both of these devices seem to be at the top of their game. What are your thoughts on who these devices are really aimed at? Like, who's the target audience here?
Well, with the S10 5, I think it's pretty clear they're going after users who just want a compact, seriously powerful phone, but without any of the unnecessary fluff. It's all about, pure efficiency and performance, all packed into this sleek, beautiful design. The iPad Air, on the other hand, I think that's aiming for a more versatile kind of user, someone who needs that bigger screen for work or maybe for creative stuff or even just for entertainment. And that M3 chip, I mean, it basically turns it into this powerhouse for any kind of demanding task you can throw at it.
And what's really interesting to me is that Apple didn't actually raise the price of the iPad Air, even though they gave it that big upgrade to the M3 chip.
Yeah.
That feels like, I don't know, like a strategic move, you know?
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
does. Maintaining that same price point while also offering a huge jump in performance, I mean, that could make the iPad Air even more tempting to people, especially those who might be considering other tablet options. This could really shake things up in the tablet market.
It's wild, right? I mean, it feels like every week there's some new breakthrough that just completely like blurs the lines between technology and what we used to think was even possible.
Yeah.
Remember that company Sesame, the one that made those AI voice demos, like those super realistic ones?
Oh, yeah, those were incredible. Almost eerie how real they sounded.
Well, they've done it again. This time they've got a new model. It's called Sing Song, and it can actually generate singing voices. And not just any singing voices. Like, they're so expressive, so lifelike. It's insane. It's like having a whole virtual choir right there at your fingertips.
Wow. AI singers, that's something else. I wonder if this is going to completely change the music industry.
Right. Imagine you could create, like, custom vocals for any song without even needing a human singer.
It definitely has the potential to totally disrupt the way music is produced, and who knows what other creative uses people will find for this technology. I mean, imagine AI generating personalized soundtracks for movies or for video games or even just, for our everyday lives.
Whoa, now that's a thought. AI composing the soundtrack to my morning commute? That's wild. It feels like AI is just becoming more and more like woven into every aspect of our lives. And it's not just limited to the digital world either, right? Remember that company, Colossal Biosciences, the one that's working on bringing back the woolly mammoth?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. It's a crazy ambitious project.
Well, get this, they just created a woolly mouse. They use CRISPR technology to basically like genetically engineer these mice with mammoth-like fur.
No way. So it's like a mini woolly mammoth.
Pretty much. I mean, it's obviously a long way from actually bringing back a full-blown mammoth, but it's still a huge step forward in, genetic engineering and de-extinction research. And it makes you think, what other scientific breakthroughs are just around the corner, right? Speaking of breakthroughs, have you heard about this AI model called Diff Rhythm? It uses latent diffusion to actually generate entire songs. It's like adding this whole other layer to what AI can already do in music creation.
It's so cool to see the open source community really embracing these advanced AI models. I feel like this kind of collaborative approach is just going to lead to even faster innovation, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI music even further.
It's really amazing to see. And speaking of pushing boundaries, NASA just hit a major milestone. They actually used GPS on the moon for the very first time. Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost lander, it successfully used Earth-based GPS signals to navigate on the lunar surface. It's a pretty remarkable achievement, and it opens up a ton of new possibilities for future moon missions.
Oh, yeah, this is huge. I mean, think about it. Using GPS on the moon, that's a game changer. It'll bring so much more precision and efficiency to landing on the moon and navigating around. It's really exciting stuff.
For sure, from navigating the moon to venturing even further out into space, SpaceX is still making headlines with their super ambitious plans for Mars. Their Starship spacecraft, it just completed a successful test flight, reaching an altitude of 150 kilometers before coming back down to Earth.
Starship is such a bold project. It's straight out of science fiction. It represents this huge step towards maybe one day making humanity a multiplanetary species, but it's definitely not without its challenges. I mean, the Martian environment is brutal, and the psychological effects of a super long space travel, those are just a couple of the hurdles we'll have to figure out.
It's honestly both incredibly inspiring and kind of daunting to think about all the challenges and all the possibilities that come with space exploration.
I totally agree. It's it forces us to really imagine what's possible and to, I don't know, confront the limits of our own ingenuity.
Absolutely. And while some people are focused on, reaching for the stars, literally, others are busy building entirely new worlds in the digital realm, in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Companies like Meta and Microsoft and NVIDIA, they're investing so much into creating these immersive virtual environments, and it's for, well, everything really. From work and education to how we socialize and how we entertain ourselves, it's all happening in the metaverse.
And it's evolving so quickly. I mean, it's still early days for the metaverse, but the potential to completely transform the way we interact, the way we work, the way we have fun, it's huge.
It really is. And let's not forget about all the advancements happening with augmented reality, too. I mean, the rumor mill is churning about Apple launching their own mixed reality headset sometime this year. That could be, I don't know, a turning point for the whole AR industry.
Oh, for sure. A mixed reality headset from Apple that could really blur the lines between, the physical world and the digital world. Imagine having these immersive experiences that could completely change everything from how we play games to how healthcare is delivered. It's amazing to think about.
Wow. We've covered so much ground in this episode, from sleek new phones to AI that's just mind-blowing and space exploration that's straight out of, a futuristic movie.
It's clear that technology is constantly reshaping our world, and in ways that are, well, sometimes completely unexpected.
It's a truly exciting time to be, following everything that's happening in tech. And honestly, I can't wait to see what the future holds.
It really is mind-boggling when you think about how technology is changing everything around us, from the way we make music to how we explore space, and even just, how we connect with each other.
And it's not all about, escaping into these virtual worlds either. Augmented reality is getting so advanced
Oh,
too.
that's right. We can't forget about Apple and that mixed reality headset they're supposedly working on. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that could be huge. A real game changer. Imagine a device that can seamlessly blend, the physical world with the digital world, and it would let you interact with virtual objects and information right there in your actual environment.
It sounds like, I don't know, something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It really does, doesn't it? But it's proof of how fast technology is moving. We're heading towards a future where the lines between what's real and what's virtual, they're going to get more and more blurred.
It's exciting, but also kind of, I don't know, a little unsettling in a way.
I know what you mean. It makes you think, how are we going to navigate this new reality? What's it going to mean for our sense of self, our relationships, even just our understanding of the world around us?
Those are some really deep questions,
Oh.
and they're not easy to answer, are they? But that's what makes following the tech world so fascinating, right?
Uh-huh.
It's constantly making us think differently and imagine all these possibilities for the future.
Yeah, it's definitely a wild ride, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon.
Well, on that note, I guess we'll leave you to ponder all those possibilities. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of tech. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.